Welcome to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, where we talk about spirituality, business, and life experiences.
In this podcast, we're bringing our private conversations to you.
We believe that it's through discussion, action, and reflection that true change occurs. Welcome to episode 165, How to Use Your Intuition to Manifest Your Future. In this episode, we have so much information for you on things that you may or may not already be doing to literally manifest things in your life. And it all comes down to being very clear on what it is that you are and what you want. And we share personal experiences on how this has unfolded for us in ways that you can get even more clear too. So we hope you enjoy the episode. Before I let you listen, I want to remind you, my Psychic Medium retreat is coming up in Florida this April 23rd to April 26th. So if you're someone that's a student of mine, you are able to go on this retreat. If you're not a student yet, definitely send me a message at lindsaymarino.com and you can get more information all about this amazing journey. We are so excited to talk to you about this topic because it's such a common one that comes up for both Tony and I when we're working with people. We talk about intuition. Manifesting is always the topic of our conversations too, and I feel like we're really good at it. So I think it's important to talk about.
Yeah, and intuition is one of those things to where it's part of the intangible realm, so it's easy to get lost in it. When you're talking about it, when you're explaining it or learning about it, there's a lot of ideas that can seem paradoxical and very confusing at times.
Right. Well, and some people that come to me even before they join the Unlock Your Intuition and Unlock Your Intuition course, they always say, well, I'm afraid I'm going to, get a bad premonition because I've always had dreams that come true and they're not good. But it really depends on what you're focused on. When we get intuitive nudges, that is our birthright. We're all born with this ability of intuition, and it's really just tuning into your soul and for guidance in your life to make things easier.
Right, so it's all about how you're defining your intuition too, right? Like you said, some people are scared of their intuition, and it's not that it's their intuition that they're scared of, it's the way that they're using it. It's the way that they're focusing their energy.
Right, and it's just like when people think, okay, my life is amazing or my life has always been horrible. What are you focused on? Naturally things are going to come up and you're going to get, the good and the not so good in your life, but how much of your time are you spending on just focusing on intuitive nudges that are bad feelings, and how are you using the amazing gifts of intuition that you're receiving to guide you on your journey?
Right, and question where and why you're using your intuition in this way. Who taught you about intuition? Where did you learn about it? Did you watch movies growing up that it showed a lot of negative things around intuition and this idea? And just go back deep and it'll help you understand, because we all have a filter, and the way that our filter is designed, that's the way that we'll see the world, and that's the truth of what we'll believe that is true. And I believe that everybody's perspective is true. It's just all a matter of how do you want to use your intuition? Do you want to use it to guide you towards positive outcomes, towards your vision, towards learning what habits to do, when to do them? And if you want to do that, you can choose that too.
Exactly. And I think we should define manifesting, because this is a common word that's been thrown around for a while. And actually, that's how you and I, me and Tony, really got talking too, like about spirituality. The first thing that we spoke about was the book, The Secret, and the law of attraction and manifesting. But I think what I thought manifesting before is so different than what I know it is now.
Right, and a big thing is it's the space that you're coming from when you're manifesting. Are you coming from a space of, I have to go out there and make this happen and grind and survival of the fittest and beat the next guy and that whole mentality? Are you coming from a space of, that everything's already connected? All you have to do is open up, work on yourself, work on your own energy, and allow things to start to just show up in your life. So it's all about, there's a lot of different spaces you can come from when it comes to manifestation.
Yeah, and manifesting isn't just about like, oh, I'm going to manifest a brand new car and sit on my couch and wait for it to come, or I'm going to win the lottery because I keep thinking I'm going to win the lottery. I'm going to win the lottery. Manifesting, to me, the definition of manifesting is pretty much letting the abundance that's already around you and all of us come to you in your frequency. So when you're manifesting things like a relationship, or you're manifesting, a job that you want, or maybe it's a book deal, it's not just about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about tapping into the frequency, the awareness of this beautiful thing that's right there, that is at your grasp. You could just reach out and touch it. Everything around all of us, it's always there. But are you on the frequency to receive it? When you get into your car, you may be in the mood to listen to rap, but when you get in the car, you might have to choose, you know what, I got to press the button for the rap music to come on. So it's tuning into the frequency and being aware of that and knowing that you could tap into it. And it is all about your energy. Like, you're not going to attract what you want. You're going to attract what you are.
Right. And then it's also thinking about where are you getting these ideas from, right? Like, where's your vision coming from? Are you thinking that it's your intuition, but it's really something that's been engraved in you since you were a kid from your parents? That kind of goal or dream, and you think it's your intuition? Or are you using your intuition to really see what lights you up and what is going to fulfill you, and what I believe is already done? I feel like everything that comes to us, to where we have a vision and we know that we have to go this direction, and we feel it so clear in that moment, and our energy feels as if it's already manifested. I believe that's because it goes with what you're saying, Lindsay, to where things are already there. You just have to tune into them energetically. And as your intuition's telling you where to go, that's what you're doing.
Exactly. You're letting the intuitive nudges, so maybe and they'll come through. You'll let the images come to your mind, the feelings that come up in your body. Maybe you get goosebumps when you know you're supposed to be led to a certain thing. It could be songs that come into your mind, or words or phrases, anything like that. And it could come through people. You could be walking into a store and there's a conversation that's happening not to you, but around you, and you pick up a word and you're like, whoa, I feel like I'm, my ears are totally honing in on this conversation, this phrase that just came up. That was definitely a message for me. And you're just following those breadcrumbs of those intuitive nudges, and it guides you through those next steps in your life so that you have clarity on where to go on the manifesting. So you can't just, not have clarity and things appear. They might appear, but how long are you going to hang on to it if you don't really love those things, Right.
So the question is how do I use my intuition for manifesting my future? Well, that's the thing. First, before you use your intuition, we got to make sure, like what you're saying, we have clarity around it. We have a clear intuition. We're actually tapping into our intuition. And once you got to that step, which you're probably thinking, how do I do that on a daily basis? What habits do I do on a daily basis to have a clear intuition? Well, we have other podcast episodes where we dive into different pieces of that. But in general, it's the nutrition. It's how you're exercising and taking care of your body. It's your emotional health, how you're taking care of that. And it's a lot of other things.
It's a lot of alone time, too.
It's a lot of alone time. And specifically with each individual, it's something different, too. So you have to figure that out on your own. And once you figure out your process, and as you keep studying and practicing and experimenting with what you're learning, you'll find your own process. And as you do that, your intuition's clear. And then all of a sudden, you start to see clearly your next steps and a clearer vision. And a lot of times what I notice too is in myself and just with people I talk to, that as your intuition gets more clear, you start to realize certain dreams you used to have and goals, they're no longer dreams and goals of yours.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And once you're in the flow of it, it's very easy. You have no time to think about, is this right or is this wrong? Or should I check in with 5 friends to make sure I'm making the right decision? And we have a lot of stories that kind of display that too, with how that's helped us, I think my big story that I've shared before in the podcast was was a time when I was in a rough spot in my life, and it was 2008 at that point, summer of 2008. And I said to my friend, one of my best friends, Kelly, I said, I want to go on a road trip. I was supposed to go on a road trip, with Nick that time, and he passed before we did it. And I said, I want to go on a road trip. I want to manifest a car that's either a Toyota or a Honda, because I want it to be good on gas. And I want to go from California to Boston. And at that point, my friend's like, okay, I'll do it with you. And I was so clear on what I wanted. And I kept saying, well, I want to drive it has to be a girl's car. I want to feel more comfortable knowing that we're working with someone that's like us, feel comfortable and confident. Not that a girl would make a difference for danger, but for me at that point, it was. So my friend Kelly posted online, or started searching online, actually. She started searching online and found out that this girl that was originally from the Boston area wanted her car taken from California, where she lived at the time. She was a doctor, taken back to Boston because her and her husband were going to move to Boston. And it was a Honda. It was a Honda Civic. And it lined up perfectly. I was very clear on the months too. I said, it has to be through this window of time. And we had the most amazing trip. And left and right, we're manifesting different things. Like we went to a casino in Vegas. And I'm like, I feel like we're going to end up winning. And then some guy's like, oh, I saw your IDs. You guys are both from Boston. You have a lucky sports team. And he's like, here, use these chips. And we won our gas money. I won a couple $100 on the roulette table. And he said, you keep it, because he knew about the trip that we were taking. So it's funny when you're opening your heart for these experiences and having this clarity on where you want to go, and how you pretty much tap into the ether, the energy that's already there. And it's so strong and clear that you end up manifesting, I'm putting in quotes, manifesting, like you're just grasping onto these things in the frequencies that you're clear on, and you're getting everything that's right there. So it was really interesting what happened that trip. And that's just one story around it.
Yeah, that's a powerful experience. And it came from you intuitively got that vision, and it felt right. You knew it was your intuition. You followed through with it. You made the decision to follow through with it. And then you immersed yourself into it.
Right.
And you kept trusting your intuition on the daily basis, right? On where to go, who to contact, what thing to do. And then, like you said, a whole new experience started to open up for you as you were on this journey.
Yeah.
And I bet you could remember, like you were saying, the feeling of being in the flow, right? Can you remember going back to that experience to where you felt so in the moment?
I was so in the moment, and there were so many miracles that took place. And I think my big thing was, at that point in my life, I'm like, I have nothing to lose. I might as well live it up. And that actually was a really good space to be in, because I was surrendering to it. Like, I was clear on what I wanted, but I was like, I have no stress. We're just going to do it. And it was one of the best trips and the most memorable with manifesting. It was amazing. It was like one of those moments where it was just lined up for us. It was in alignment. And I felt like the spirit realm was with us, making things happen for us too, because I was so open to receive those miracles. So we were having a lot of spiritual experiences. And at that point, that was the start of a lot to manifest for me. Like, I tapped into something that I thought I was tapped in before, because you and I know that Nick was into the law of attraction too. And that's something that we spoke about. And that was at the beginning of the journey in 2007 when I started to get into the law of attraction. But I actually was living it from a different space with these experiences. And it was really amazing what took place.
So it taught you a different way of manifestation, to where in the past, before that, maybe you were more physical. You were more,
yeah, it was more in my head.
All right, I'm going to do this goal. I'm going to take this step to get there, and all of that, to where there's nothing wrong with that.
It was
that
more about parking spaces at that point.
Right. But then, like here, this taught you to, when you're in the moment, like you just intuitively, we'll call it, like you could put a lot of names on it, but intuitively manifesting or allowing things to happen. And when you're connected to that energy, I think that's the thing too, you're connected to another energy when you're in this manifestation mode, when you're manifesting this way intuitively.
Yes, totally. And it feels lighter. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, oh, what should I think about in my intuition? Like when intuition comes up for us, intuitive nudges, it's normally when we're doing things that aren't really focused on it. Like we might be brushing our teeth, you might be riding your bike, you might be playing basketball, or, it's just a very random thought or feeling. And I would suggest keeping a notebook for those intuitive nudges. And also using that as guidance and clarity. Like when you do have a moment where you are just brainstorming on a notebook paper, write that down.
Yeah, it's like you said, exactly. You have a notebook around. A lot of times I'll be walking, going on my walks, and that's when I get a lot of intuitive information and clarity, and I'll type it into my phone and then put it into my notebook once I get home. And that's the thing that happens to me, though. It's always when I'm playing sports. I was telling you this other day, Lindsay, how I feel like I was trying to put words on it, and we're putting more words on it with this episode here so far, but manifesting in a different way. Manifesting from intuition, from spoken word, from masterminding, and from creating internally, like the quantum level of manifestation of not any hocus pocus, like you don't have to take action. Of course you take action still, but you're lining your energy up. Like I'm lining when I'm bike riding and I'm working out or we're talking at the coffee shop. I feel like we're lining our mind up. We're lining our energy up. We're putting that infrastructure so that it can manifest. And I can feel that as we're doing that. So figuring out how to use your intuition for manifestation, in my opinion, that's a huge way to do it, is to really play with this as you're doing your hobbies or however it flows for you. You'll find how it flows into your day effortlessly. And as you find those experiences, make sure you do them more and more.
Exactly. And be in situations where you're in high vibrational states. Like, of course, as humans, you're not always going to be happy. But, we were just at a huge game in Tampa at the football game, watching Tom Brady play. Like, he came back so many points. They didn't win, but they were close. And I remember moments in these games whenever we go to the baseball stadiums or the football stadiums when people are celebrating and jumping up and down, and you have how many thousands of people in that stadium?
There's probably 60, I believe, okay. 60,000 or so, maybe more.
So that many people, that most of them are cheering and celebrating for that team. Imagine how much of an energetic rush comes from that. So at those times, me and Tony will always think about the things that the vision, those intuitive nudges that we already received before, the feelings and the clarity of what we want and what we feel, we focus in on it when that kind of stuff happens. So when people are jumping up, I'm like, okay, focus on this. Like our focus, like let's imagine that right now, because there's such high vibes at that point.
And I love how you brought that up. I didn't tell you this, but earlier I was listening to a college coach, Nick Saban, and he was giving a speech, and he talked about that spiritual experience that happens at a stadium to where, and he says it's because several factors. You have people all focused on the same goal. Everyone's together in spirit, and everyone knows the rules. Like everyone knows what rules to follow, how the game of the sport, what rules to follow when you're in the stadium. So you have this pure intention, this pure focus. And as I was listening to it, I was thinking, yeah, that's the mastermind effect. That's where that third realm, that third spirit, that third mind coming into play, the most powerful mind that starts to shift everything and intuitively manifesting. This is a big piece of it, is allowing that powerful mind connecting in with it. And I believe the more in rapport you get with your intuition and this intuitive factor, which we could call God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, the more rapport you build, the more manifestation, which we'll call it here, starts to happen more in an effortless manner.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I didn't even know you listened to that. So that's really interesting. It does remind me of the mastermind. It literally is a mastermind of people coming together with that same intention. So it's something to think about. Some people might you may be a psychic medium listening to this and you're giving readings to other people, but you're not using your abilities for yourself and for your future, and you actually can. So I think that's really important to think about when you're going about your day, or knowing that things don't have to be so far away, because it's very common with our clients. I know Tony and I have spoke about like visions. They know what they want in the future, but it sounds so far away. And that's happened to me in the past, and it doesn't have to be far away.
And it sounds so far away, and they're already high achievers that we're working with, and they're already doing so much. So in their mind too, they think that they have to do some more. They have to do more work or more. And a lot of times it's not that way. And I think that's why it could be overwhelming, is because you're already at a certain level and that next level that you're going to, and you think that you have to do more of something, when a lot of times it's just fine tuning what you're already doing, polishing out things, eliminating some things.
So the question we want to leave you off with is, truly, what have been those intuitive nudges you've received? Maybe it's going and, writing a book. Maybe it's an intuitive nudge to change a career or start the business or step up in your business. What are those things? And what habits are you going to surround yourself with and kind of carry out as you're going on this journey? Like, what is the clarity that you can have even more so than you already do to manifest different experiences and people in your life to allow this to flow even more so? Yeah, there's so many ways that you could think about that and figure out like, what steps am I going to take? And it doesn't have to be an hour of meditating, it could be in another form of how you're going to get there.
Right. Get creative with that, unique to yourself.
Mm-hmm. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode. As always, we love hearing from you. We're so grateful for, you sharing with us your experiences with these episodes, and we can't wait to see you next time. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.